First, there was the incident on the Batmobile with Zoe Kravitz and Pattinson, and they forged the Bat Baby. Now that's going to be injected into the trilogy, and then I hear that Pattinson isn't getting along with Reeves, and you know, that's obviously just going to mean there's no trilogy now, and they're just going to do a one and done. And what? What? You add that into what we actually know before as well. It's almost as if this stuff is made up.
You have nothing to threaten me with.
Ladies, gentlemen, Bat family, welcome to a brand new video, and this is primarily the Batman video, but it's going the next level. We are talking about the rumors. We are talking about the frickin' trilogy. For any doubters out there. And I don't want to also put myself up on a pedestal guaranteeing this and that, because I'm just not that stupid, but I will be adding evidence into this video to make it very compelling, rather than just saying, oh, by the way, you know, I saw Pattinson, a source told me he went down the store and he brought a dib-dab, and that went in his eye, so he's actually had to have a row with Matt Reeves, because, you know, it had a bit of an allergic reaction, and Matt Reeves was saying you need to keep eating dib-dabs every freaking day you're on set. I'm sick of it! So you may have heard very, very recently, as of yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, Warner Brothers is doubling down with The Batman star Robert Pattinson as the studio, along with New Line Cinema, Warner Brothers Television, and HBO Max have made an overall first-look production deal with him. Now, first of all, I don't want to put something out there that this isn't explicitly saying, Robert Pattinson commits to the Batman, but this is what this video is about, ladies and gentlemen. This is how there is a lot of nuance, and abundance of nuance there, which is, it should be insanely common sense, but I can't articulate. This is how ridiculous this is to me sometimes. Well, all the time, to be honest. But anyway, right, you may be confused. Let's get on with this. Let's talk about Pattinson's new deal with Warner Brothers. Let's talk about what the heck is going on. And then let's talk about the Batman. Let's talk about the trilogy. Let's talk about the expanding Batverse. And also how there is rumors out there that this is just... It's like deflating before it's even flowered, so to speak. Such a weird way to put it, but you know what I mean? So, Warner Brothers Pictures and HBO have always been synonymous with groundbreaking filmmaking, Pattinson said. I'm thrilled to be working with them to discover the most exciting new voices in film and television and help bring their visions to life. I've loved working with the studio over the years and have so much respect for their dedication, their willingness to take chances, and their desire to push the envelope creatively. The article goes on to say that the deal is for theatrical, SVOD, HBO Max, and Warner Brothers TV properties. The deal represents the actor's first foray into producing. And then Warner Brothers go ahead and say that we've been incredibly impressed with Rob's eye for identifying dynamic new filmmakers. Additionally, he is continually nurturing exciting story ideas into compelling screenplays. We are so excited that Warner Bros. And New Line will be his home, and we get to benefit from his creative commercial passion. So, let me just put it this way. Warner Brothers are heavily investing in this man. Like, they want Pattinson, like, here. They want him. They want him so tight. And some of you may be thinking, like, what is a first look deal? And this kind of is, as they say, Pattinson's, you know, first and kind of step into his own production company, because you kind of have to have that going to even kind of do this kind of thing. So he's basically got a very cushy deal, as we say, with Warner Brothers, WB, to kind of, if he has an idea of something that he wants to do, he will basically pitch it to WB. They have first dibs on it, so to speak. And if they're interested, they'll be like, yeah, man, we do that. But if not, like, he'll be going to other studios. They'll be like, okay, yeah, no, yeah, we trust you, but, like, you know, for this one, we're going to let you shop around or whatever you want to do. But, like, he is basically got quite a nice, cushy deal with WB. And you may be thinking, so, yeah, how is this about the Batman? How is this relevant? It's just, the bigger picture here is that there is a home and there is a continuous strengthening relationship with Pattinson moving forward with Warner Brothers, and who else, and what does this subject him to? What does this subject him to? Somebody else who was also, not so long ago, and we'll get into this, inked certain deals with WB as well. He's subjecting himself to more time. And this, when I say subjecting himself, I don't mean that in a negative way, despite what some people believe. With Matt Reeves. More time with Mr. Matt Reeves. Don't be mistaken, this isn't like a deal that locks him into doing films for Warner Brothers. So this deal and these articles that are coming out from Deadline, left, right, and center means that he's going to do the trilogy now faux show, because there's no way out. That's not what this means, but as I said, nuance. Now let me move on to the Matt Reeves stuff, and also just the question of a trilogy, because I've always spoke about the Batman as a trilogy. And some people will ask why. Has there ever actually been anything concrete on it being a trilogy? And yes, there have. Ever since Ben Affleck even stepped out the door, a few months later, Matt Reeves was already talking about it. Obviously, he was kind of saying, well, we gotta start somewhere first. But then, as the years passed by, and then with these ridiculous rumors coming out, which, you know, we're gonna touch upon in just a second, with all of this stuff coming out, stuff being inked and signed, strengthening relationships that will put him in the way in a working relationship with Reeves even more into the future, with the absolute hype and kind of low-key guaranteed success of the Batman, for that to be a one and done is one of the most illogical things that I can't really comprehend that people are saying. So, like, Warner Brothers have Pattinson very happy. They have Reeves doing an abundance of different things that draw bridges to multiple different platforms, including HBO Max and his television deals. So let's first just, I know this is kind of really off the cuff, off the top of my head, but I just feel like I need to get this out, like everything out. So there are rumors, and I'm not calling people stupid, but basically, let's start with the most ridiculous one. Apparently on the set of The Batman, there was a little incident on the Batmobile with Zoe Kravitz and Pattinson. And this was going around places, and I still get comments about it, as she got pregnant. In the words of Forrest Gump, that's all I got to say about that. But there was another thing, something that, you know, I get how people, especially I think it's with the timing of people not understand. It's kind of like a bit of British humor, but also Pattinson being a bit sarcastic, but people really hammered in on this. As I said, bad timing with Pattinson talking about the workout kind of thing, and thus people thought that maybe he really wasn't putting the most effort into the film. And so I can somewhat understand some people more than others maybe subscribing to the idea that he wasn't really getting along with Matt Reeves and vice versa. It just, there was tensions on set. But that's just what really bothers me about these rumors, is when people spread it like that, and then it turns out that it looks like with all the other things that come out along the fold, such as yesterday's story, what happened with Matt Reeves, and I'm going to get into that because it's very important to talk about this trilogy, because if it was a one and done deal and there was tensions on set, everybody's thinking that Pattinson and Reeves, that's going to be it. But we're going to get into that and hopefully give you a bit more reassurance there in just a second. But it's just so funny to me that it's like, oh, big surprise! It doesn't look like it's going that way. And I do want to say, just to play devil's advocate, these recent news things doesn't spell out on a typewriter, Pattinson has literally committed to a 3-year Batman deal. He is appearing in Gotham PD. But as I said, it really doesn't take much to add up the math here of how things are going to pan out. And look, I'm just going to say another thing. So, this is in May, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. This month, we're on the 25th right now, and this was on the 5th of May, 2021. Hello, Jeffrey Wright, I hope you're doing well. And I just want to say, this is from GGHHYGVB. I just wanted to say I'm a huge fan. I have a quick question. Is it true that Rob was difficult on set to work with? And, you know, I'm not blaming this guy. I'm glad he freaking asked this question to Gordon, Jeffrey Wright himself. Are those reports true or false? Thank you so much. Jeffrey Wright, your man, your boy, Jim Gordon. Now, I do want to say, devil's advocate, Because, you know, people are going to say it. I do want to be fair. I understand that someone or some people will say, but to be fair, of course, said actor will say that to defend the movie and defend the actor and to closet away. I get that. It is an argument. But as I said, with the abundance of nuance in favor of opposing all of the BS rumors, this just adds and strengthens it a lot more. It really does. It's like, you know, I get what people are saying with how that could just be a marketing thing, and obviously they want to put it under the rug, but like, that's Jeffrey Rice just obviously wanting to address somebody because they're hearing about it. This is what I mean about with words spoken. It gets to questions like this, people having opinions, people asking Jeffrey Wright, and then they're forced to kind of respond. But as I said, I'll leave it up to you at the end of the day. You can have your bloody opinion. But just, I ask you to take the evidence into account with the way this is going. Film Twitter, film fans always love to devour things and maybe look for a bit of gossip. I get that. But just because sometimes there are stories, doesn't mean they are the story. To be honest, I wish that tweet would just end it all right there, but it doesn't. So, you know, we're going to continue on with the background information of this trilogy being a thing. So, I've kind of got that out the way. We know that WB is very invested in Pattinson. We know that with this, it's more of a producing kind of thing, and he's got a very comfortable home there. He is very much so, his home, as they say, is at Warner Brothers Studio, so to speak, with projects that he wants to kind of somewhat move forward to, and if not, he can do, you know, I've already said that. And an analogy I can give you, it's like with Pattinson doing this and Reeves having a very similar kind of thing going on in different avenues. It's like telling your friend, okay, go up that pathway in the woods, and then someone else comes along, like his mate, and you're like, okay, yeah, go up that pathway, Route A again. Reeves just went up there. You'll catch up to him in about 5 minutes because I heard he's just stopped for a drink. That's what's going on. Like, that's their future, and you're telling me there's going to be one Batman movie. Anyway, so let's talk about the trilogy, because this has always been about a trilogy, ideally, and when the months go by, it just solidifies more and more and more. Now, I've always said, I will hold my hands up if I'm wrong. I have absolutely no shame or embarrassment there. I just don't. It's just, you know, I feel like being that honest and open about things only does you favors. I will be gobsmacked, absolutely gobsmacked, if the Batman doesn't get a sequel, especially with the Batverse really becoming a thing. Seriously. And that was something that was rumored at some point in time. People weren't really believing it, but then Reeves inked a bit of a deal, spreading the Batverse into multiple platforms. We spoke about this before, but as I said, I think people kind of forget these increments of details over time. You know, this really does go back to 2017. I think it was January 2017 is when the Batman was Ben Affleck's thing, and it was announced in those articles that he was leaving. But ever since then, time and years go by, things get interesting. So way back in 2017, right around this time, a few months after even, as I said, Reeves was given his plate because of Ben Affleck leaving the Batman. And this is what he had to say, I believe, in around July of 2017. So Reeves said, I have ideas about an arc. But really, the most important thing is just to start. You have to start with one, he explained. You know, you have to start with a story that begins something. And I would be lying if I could tell you that the Arcs of Apes was already planned out, because it simply wasn't. It's one of those things where that character was so potent and the possibility was embedded from the beginning. But that's exactly how you got from A to Z. It is something that existed. So, you know, 2017, you really need to cement that context in your head. This is a few months after, obviously inside they would have known it for a bit longer. Ben Affleck left the Batman and Matt Reeves adopted that title. And he already had ideas for an arc, obviously. You have seen how goddamn passionate this man is about this world. He even says, if I could tell you that the Arcs of Apes, you know, his Planet of the Apes movies was planned out, because it simply wasn't. However, it's one of those things that the character was so potent, the possibility was embedded from the bit. Is there another character that has this potent possibility, especially with the timeline that Reeves has injected Pattinson's character into? at year 2, 1 year, 6 months in. Jesus Louise's puppet Jesus, the potential and potency of this character is incomprehensible. That's why he's injecting a lot of world building out there with certain Rogues Gallery members that you've seen or heard rumors of being out there, because he is fleshing this out into a bigger universe than I think a lot of people are even aware of. I know there's a lot of people in the know who may be understanding what I'm saying right now, but there are a lot who really, I don't think, cotton on to the whole genuine thing that's going on here, and has been going on and been maintaining this storyline ever since its inception. It's just these rumors get in the way, and I think people forget about the little details like this. Now, that was 2017, people. We are benching on 2022 now. 2022. Now, the reason why I say this is, what Reeves said there, is very much so coming to fruition, because he has also done something similar in akin to a kind of way that Pattinson has yesterday, and we're going to get into that with his Gotham PD show. So since those years, multiple articles have come out from very reputable outlets, only increasing the grip on the Batman being a trilogy. Forbes went on to say, I believe in 2019, when Pattinson was currently the only one who had signed on, but rumors of, Jeffrey Wright signing on and others were very, very soon to be confirmed. So Reeves is taking his time on the project, they say in this article, to ensure he gets it right and builds the foundation for a new Batman series that delivers a fully realized Batworld capable of sustaining itself for many movies going forward. At this point, Reeves will be making a trilogy of films, but there will be opportunity for the world he creates to continue, be it with Reeves still at the helm or someone else taking the time in a director's chair. I mean, you could liken that to almost George Lucas, right? Directing A New Hope, but kind of being there for the others, but he was very much so there for the others, albeit not direct. That could still very well happen. That doesn't mean it's not Reeves's baby, if you know what I mean. That's another thing to bear in mind with the continuation of the Batman universe with the same actors continuing on. The article also likes to mention that's why the plan is to fill this Batworld with an entire rogues gallery of villains, and Batman has the best slate of villains in the comics, rivaled only by Spider-Man, as Forbes says there. So let's now add in the mountain of evidence that with Matt Reeves' commitment to this universe that kind of bridges into what I like to think of multiple avenues, and this is language also kind of used by the actual idea behind all of this, that only strengthens the absolute conviction I feel that Matt Reeves has to see this world fully brought to fruition in many various ways. So some of you may remember this. The Batman director Matt Reeves is developing a TV spin-off about the Gotham PD for his upcoming Batman reboot for HBO Max. The series will be overseen by Reeves and Terrence Winter. By the way, this is old wording. Terrence left the project, so skip over that for a second, but everything else is the same, and will be quote-unquote be set in the world Reeves is creating for the feature film The Batman. Key words being, with the intent being to launch a new Batman universe across multiple platforms. It is said to build on the film's examination of the anatomy of corruption in Gotham City. It's the first project in an overall deal Reeves has with Warner Brothers TV, and marks a bold but familiar new expansion of the Batman franchise. Now, once again, devil's advocate, that doesn't say Robert Pattinson has literally signed on to 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and because people like to think maybe there's going to be 6 films or something. It doesn't, but as I say, people, apply some common sense or something, because, when you just think of those rumors as dumbass as the Batmobile one, and I know most people have the common sense to write that one off, but I still somehow get comments about it. But, okay, what about the tension? I mean, that is a plausible thing. I can't deny that. People argue. But, it still seems very unfounded, given all the context I've said. I don't appreciate, nor do I respect, people who really kind of shit stir the pot. I wouldn't mind it if it was addressed in a way that, I'm not saying you have to be like me, but and I think they also need to apply context to it that kind of makes them doubt the validity of a certain thing, especially when, lo and behold, as I said in this video already, oh, look at what the news that comes out. It only looks like things are going a direction I've been saying this whole time. and that is that there's going to be a Batman trilogy. We are going to get a badass arc. They have many plans with this. We have the Gotham PD show. We have other shows that are potential. For example, they might even go into a Catwoman one. That is a rumor, by the way. I am not saying that is going to happen. Do you know why, ladies and gentlemen? Because yes, I hear things sometimes, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna, like, basically say it with such conviction. So take that with a grain of salt. But, like, you know, from, as they say in these articles of old almost, that it will be set in the world Reeves is creating for the feature film. It is said to build on the film's examination, with the intent being to launch a new Batman universe across multiple platforms. And then we have, like, that deal with Reeves, and we have Pattinson finding a very cushy home with his producing ideas and where that's gonna go. So he has a very good relationship there. Do you really think this absolute gold mine, and I really mean this is gold. Yes, it's not in the DCU, it's in its own little pocket bubble over here, but they know they've got gold on their hands. Even from that 25 to 30% footage trailer that we got, they can see the hype behind this character. They can, funnily enough, see, despite people saying, oh, Twilight Boy at the beginning, the absolute hype people have behind this character and the actors. It is a cocktail of the ages for this character, and it may sound like I'm overhyping it, but I just feel like I'm really in tune with the wavelength. And do you really think they're not going to absolutely do anything in their absolute by any means necessary to make sure that Matt Reeves and Pattinson forge this trilogy? And we also know that Pattinson loves being the character, and now he likes to think that he's gonna, and he is going to stay at WB for some time, basically calling it his second home kind of thing, in a multitude of ways, with his ideas to run past them and whatnot, with what a first look deal entails. Look, I'm just rambling at this point, but it's just frustrating to see sometimes. And as I said, it's going to be absolutely effing hilarious if somehow, and I do not believe this, not even 1% of the fiber of my being believes that it's going to go in the ways of the rumors, and that it's going to completely just cave in, and there's not going to be more projects in the future with Jeffrey Wright and Pattinson being Batman. And I hope this video kind of served as some reassurance for how there is a trilogy planned, that there are very much so this longevity and approach to ideas that are being woven and have been weaved as well. We have the it's not compelling evidence, even though, I think it is to some people, but I do like to play devil's advocate, from Jeffrey Wright, rolling his eyes when that question is asked. So, ramble and rant over, to be honest. I've done a mini breakdown, a mini tangent, a mini rant about it all. I've tried to dig up some past that I think some people kind of forget a little bit. So I would love to know your thoughts on this. What do you think? That's all I can really say. What do you think about this? Have you subscribed to it? Like this video if you enjoyed it, guys. I'll be reading every single one of your comments. As usual, if you got to this part in the video, prove it with whatever comment you're going to put down in the comments below. Hashtag God bless the Bat Baby. Yes, I said it. And other than that, check the links in the top pinned comment for links to follow me on Twitter, social media, Patreon if you want to support what I do here a little bit further. But I'm going to be doing another Q&A at some point soon, another addition to the speculation series. I think we're going to do a Gotham PD one soon. I have done one before. I don't know if many people realize that. People are asking about that, but I will be doing another one. I'll probably link that one at the end of this video that I have done. So yeah, take care, guys. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you, members of the Bat family, in the next video. Goodbye.